As a musical artist, you might be tempted to think that big numbers on social media, meaning lots of likes, lots of followers, lots of engagement, that it will actually help you with your music career. But the most important thing, it's absolutely essential that those numbers have the people to back it up in real life. That follower count needs real humans for it to actually mean something. And the same with your video views and your likes. And when people are exposed to your music for the first time, this is called traffic, right? The traffic of people flowing to you and your music is what we call it when someone stumbles across you online. And generating traffic and increasing the number of sources of traffic that point through your music is absolutely crucial for discovery. So in this episode, you're going to hear me use the words traffic and discovery pretty much interchangeably because you can't have one without the other. And getting a lot of traffic is going to absolutely help you to blow up your music career. And here's the thing. We do care about the numbers online because those numbers help validate what we are doing, especially when people meet us for the first time and they make a snap decision about us and our music. But good marketing that provides a lot of quality traffic will improve those vanity metrics as a side effect. But doing the opposite, simply boosting your metrics as cheaply as possible to just hit a certain number, usually that doesn't include good marketing, and you'll just be left in the exact same spot in your music career, regardless of what your Instagram follower count says, regardless of how many views your music video might get, right? We all know that person who has 150,000 followers on Instagram, but it was clearly just bought and paid for because when they post, they get 4 likes, and the engagement and the traffic on those posts doesn't match the follower count. And people can see right through this today. So in this episode, we're going to cover the 3 best ways to generate traffic for your music career in order to get discovered, because people need to know you exist and people need to know where they can experience and consume your music catalog and really get to know you better. And there's lots of great ways to do this. You can do this on social media. You can do this directly on streaming platforms, and you can also do social media ads to send people to streaming services like Spotify. That's a great third option. And no matter what you choose, it's absolutely essential that you focus on at least one, because the prerequisite for discovery is traffic. And the prerequisite for everything else is that they discover you in the first place. So the question isn't whether or not you should generate traffic to your music, but rather how can you generate traffic and do it in a sustainable way that's actually effective. And that's what we're going to unpack in today's episode. And as with every episode, this fits well within our main question: how do independent musicians like us who aren't signed to a record label or have major investors who are spending our own money, how do we market in a way that connects our music with real people and do it in a way where we eventually turn a profit? That's the question I'm trying to answer. My name's Ryan Watzek, and welcome to the show. Now, like I said earlier, there are 3 of my favorite ways to generate traffic to your music, and I want to define these categories a little clearer before we dig really deep into each one. The first, organic posting. If you don't know what that is, I would be really surprised, but just in case, organic posting is what you see when you open up Instagram, when you open up TikTok. It's the posts, it's the video content inside of a user's feed. And each social media platform curates an algorithm for every user. And if you join the conversation by posting video content on Instagram, uploading Instagram Reels, by uploading a TikTok, and once again, this should probably be video content because video is the best way to demonstrate our talents and to demonstrate our sound and our songs in the most complete form on social media. If you do that and you post organically, the algorithm is going to send it not only to the people who follow you, but there is a chance it can send it to people beyond your followers. And this is where we need to bring up the algorithm, because every social media platform has an algorithm that will determine who sees your posts and how many people will see your posts. On Instagram, the Reels algorithm is designed so that if you have good watch time and good engagement and good comment to view ratio and like to view ratio, then Instagram will push that reel to brand new people who do not even follow you, but they will see that video in your feed. And the same goes with every social media platform, even YouTube Shorts. We'll talk about strategies for what you should do when you post organically, but just as an intro, when you post video content on social media and the algorithm decides who it should show it to you, that is posting organic content, and that's the first category. The second way to generate traffic would be on the streaming platforms themselves, not on social media. For example, on Spotify, you can get on Spotify playlists that add your song, and the playlists, they have traffic built in, and you are tapping into that traffic so that your music gets streamed and people are exposed to the fact that you exist in the first place. And this technically is called influencer marketing, because what you're doing is you're utilizing the influence of a playlist owner. And once your song is on that playlist, you're benefiting from that influence and that traffic and that exposure. So the first way, organic posting, that's going direct to your audience, right? It's a form of organic direct marketing. I'll talk about another type of direct marketing in just a second. But playlist promotion is not direct marketing. Playlist promotion is influencer marketing, because you are tapping into that influencer's audience for your benefit. We'll talk more about playlist promotion in a bit, but I want to introduce you to my third favorite way to generate traffic for your music, which is paid advertising on social media. This is exactly like organic posting, except you're not leaving it up to chance how many impressions you're going to get on your video, right? The whole Instagram algorithm deciding who to show it to, who to not show it to, how many of your followers will actually see your post versus not see your post. All of that's thrown out the window when it comes to paid advertising, because you can use tools like Meta Business Suite to actually pay for the impressions on Instagram, Facebook, Reels, everything, stories. You can pay for those impressions, and it is guaranteed that people will see your video content. And paid advertising has a lot of advanced tools to actually target very narrow groups of people. You could also target broad groups of people if you choose. So it's a very advanced platform that is very effective when it comes to gathering new people, making sure that your videos are seen, and actually getting them to convert to other platforms. Like I mentioned earlier, you can use paid advertising and video content to introduce someone to your brand and your sound, but the call to action can actually be to take the next step and stream the rest of your catalog on Spotify. So paid advertising is very flexible, and it can have that hybrid approach where they're seeing you on video, but getting invited to stream more on Spotify also. Now, here's the important thing before we move on with this lesson. All of the above, organic posting, influencer marketing, paid advertising, all of it, these methods can all be extremely effective or a complete waste of time and resources. It all depends on, well, quite a few factors, mainly whether or not you're willing to spend the time and the energy to not just go about it blindly, right? You need to go about all of these very intentionally and adopt what I call the testing mindset, okay? One of the most wasteful things you can do, regardless of the strategy, is to try to promote your music without the testing mindset. No matter what you do, whether it's just organic posting, which might not feel too risky, but time and time again, I talk to artists who have been posting for months on end, sometimes years, without seeing any result, without seeing any fruit from their efforts. And oftentimes when we talk about marketing, we're thinking about the monetary risks of spending a budget, wasting that budget because the campaign doesn't work. But how much more of a waste is it to spend a year or two posting every week or every day online without anything to show for it, and your literal life is wasted? wasted. I see this most often when an artist doesn't even know about the testing mindset. They don't know what tests to perform, and they don't know how to read their analytics so that they can learn from trying a bunch of different things and evolving their content strategy over time. So that's why the testing mindset is so important. But that also goes for every other strategy as well. Playlisting. Not every song is going to respond the same way in a playlisting scenario. We'll talk more about that in a bit, but one of the most wasteful things you can do without a testing mindset is paid advertising, because you're actually spending money daily for those impressions. And if you film a video and it turns out that it sucks a lot, organically, you didn't lose anything except your time. But with paid advertising, this is a huge issue, because you are spending day after day on this poor performing video. And if you don't know how to read your data, the data in Ads Manager that you get back in exchange for paying for these impressions, you could have an ad that's not accomplishing your goal, and you might not even know it, because the views will be going up, but the action that is desired is not happening. This is why I'm a big advocate for either learning how to run ads yourself in a formal training like the one we offer at the Indie Music Academy. It's called the Spotify Growth Formula. It's an excellent program on how to use Meta Business Manager to grow your music career. But if you don't have the time to learn it yourself, I'm also a huge advocate for hiring an expert, an agency like ours, to run the ads for you, because we do know how to read the data and to make the adjustments necessary in order to create a winning campaign. Because come on, whether it's you or me or anyone, we're not going to hit a grand slam the first time we turn that campaign on. It's just not realistic. Sometimes it does happen, but odds are that you're not just going to hit a home run at your first at bat. And that's why the testing mindset is so important. And you want to be able to read the data and be able to respond to what the data is saying, so that you can improve your campaign, improve your video creatives. As I just said, this is true across the board, regardless if you're doing a paid strategy or an organic one. Now, I thought it would be really fun to do a pros and cons analysis of each of these traffic generating strategies. And nearly every day I'm asked, which is the best strategy for me? And I think it would be perfect just to outline why you should use it and why you shouldn't. So first, organic posting. It is one of the hardest ways to generate traffic, but it's also the freest, right? It costs nearly nothing to take your phone, something you probably already have, has a camera on it, and film content and post it to Instagram or TikTok. That is literally a free production studio right in your pocket, because we're obviously not going to count the cost of that phone you already have. The problem here is that a lot of artists, they fall into the trap of posting the same thing over and over and over again, or posting without being aware of the trends, or staying well within their comfort zone, never stepping out, or never trying something new, or never saying to themselves, hey, this worked for that person, maybe I should try my version of that and see how my audience responds to it. That's the key to organic posting. It's actually a lot less about the quality of your video or how often you upload. I mean, that is a factor, but the most important factor is whether or not you are engaging in the conversation and the culture of that platform in a relevant and effective way. If you are posting and you seem like an outsider or a disengaged user of the platform, meaning that your videos are mostly focused on yourself and you're just posting self-serving videos that are not very interesting, that are just telling people what to do, such as stream my music or hey guys, I put out a new song, here it is. And it's kind of like the boring option on the platform when they could just swipe away to something way more interesting, then that's a losing strategy on social media, and organic posting is not going to work. There are other options that might be a better fit for you rather than organic posting. If you're an artist that just feels or knows that you're just not going to do the work of figuring out your content strategy. That's really what it is, point blank. Organic posting requires a discovery process. It requires being open to feedback, trial and error, and testing of different formats, different hooks, and different approaches. And sometimes even strategizing a social media side of your brand that maybe you've never thought of before. This is everything that's required, but time and time again, I talk to musicians who just know themselves, and they say that they have zero interest in pursuing this path of creating content to promote their own music. And thankfully, there are other options. There are the other two options that I mentioned later, and that leads us right into the pros and cons of influencer marketing. Mainly playlist promotion, right? Because playlist promotion is one of the best ways to get traffic to your music. And Spotify, once again, is really the only option when it comes to playlist promotion. Apple Music or Amazon Music or even YouTube Music, they don't have as strong as a playlisting feature on the platform. And so when I mention playlisting, I am exclusively talking about Spotify playlisting. And there are huge pros to doing this. For one, you don't have to make video content. In fact, you don't have to do anything at all because it's based on a pitch to the influencers. And influencers and curators, I'm going to use those words interchangeably because they're the same person. The curator is the playlist owner that is providing you with the traffic and the influence on your song. So if you get into a Spotify playlist, you don't have to make a video. All you do is pitch. The curator says, yes, I love this song. I want to partner with this artist. I want to do an influencer marketing campaign. And we set these up, by the way, at our agency. We set up these Spotify influencer marketing campaigns for our artists. I'll leave a link in the show notes if you want to learn more about that. We call it Spotify playlist promotion because you get on a playlist and your song gets promoted. And so once the influencer says yes, they partner with you, they charge an influencer marketing fee. And the way that we set up our campaigns is we actually negotiate a guaranteed minimum stream count that the influencer will deliver to you. And that leads us into one of the other benefits of playlist promotion, which is guaranteed minimums. And not every playlisting company actually offers guaranteed minimums, but we do. And I just want to make you aware that not all playlisting is created equal. So what I'm speaking to is just out of my experience doing campaigns for artists that I've worked with. And I can't speak for every company because other companies, they'll just pitch you and maybe whatever you get is what you get, but that's just not how we operate. So I'm going to say, at least with us, guaranteed minimums is a benefit because you know that you're going to get at least the guaranteed minimum number of streams in result of that traffic. And you can't say that about organic posting because many artists know that you can post every single day for days on end, for weeks and months and years on end, and you could get nothing. You could get no views and no followers, and a lot of artists are stuck. So in this other category of Spotify playlist promotion, that's really a good solution to the traffic problem because the curator, the playlist owner, already has that source of traffic. They are the influencer, and you're tapping into that with guaranteed minimums. Once again, at least that's how we set up our campaigns. There's a lot more to be said about Spotify playlisting, and it probably deserves its own episode. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to do an episode on playlisting specifically, because there's a lot of stuff like playlist quality, the different categories of playlists, how high you are on the list, right? You can be, the 10th song on the playlist, or you could be the 50th song on the playlist, right? And the traffic is going to adjust depending on your playlist position. But let me know. And also, I'm going to leave that link in the description because there's a lot of information about how playlisting works on the info page for our service. So even if you're not interested in doing a campaign, it's still a really good read if you just want to learn about Spotify playlisting, how it works, how we pitch, how we target our lists, all of the above. But now I want to move on to the pros and cons of paid advertising. And some of these I've already covered because it just naturally came up in the conversation. But gosh, a huge benefit of paid advertising are the guaranteed impressions, right? If you pay $5 a day in meta ads on Instagram, you know that you're going to get $5 worth of impressions on your post. And in case you don't know that term, not familiar with the term impressions are when someone sees your post, right? An impression is not a like. An impression is not a click. It's just people viewing your post in their feed. and ads provide impressions. Organic posting also provides impressions, but the organic side is random. You might get 10 impressions on your organic post, or you might go viral and get 1 million impressions and 1 million views as a result of those impressions. But with paid advertising, there's no going viral. With paid advertising, you basically get exactly what you're paying for. You're paying the money and you're getting the impressions. And depending on who you are as an artist and your preferences, that guaranteed traffic on your post can be a huge benefit. Another huge benefit is the targeting. You can do so much with paid advertising. You can retarget your existing followers. You can create a campaign that only targets new people called cold audiences. You can do a mix of both. You can even use your followers as a lookalike audience and tell Meta, hey, here are my current followers. Find more people just like that. It's very advanced. It uses machine learning to optimize your campaign so you get the best result for your budget. But here's the thing, and this is one of the downsides of paid ads, is that it's not a turnkey solution like playlisting, and it's not as simple as uploading your post to Instagram like organic posting. Using Meta Business Manager, which is the platform that you should use to run your ads, actually takes a lot of setup. There's a huge learning curve. And even if you do manage to get your ads running, you need to understand the data that's coming back so you can know how to maintenance and tweak your campaign over time. And not doing the maintenance, not doing the ads management is going to be the recipe for wasting money with ads, right? If your campaign's not optimizing correctly, if your video is failing in an ads environment, you need to have the next step ready. You need to have the experience under your belt to see the signs and make the correct response. And once again, like I mentioned earlier, I do have a wonderful training on how to use Meta Business Manager to run your Spotify ads. And I'll leave that link in the description below in case you do want to learn how to become an ads manager yourself for your own music. And I teach everything. Everything I know is in that training. So it's a great place to go if you want to become that person. But once again, it's not a turnkey thing, and it does take the knowledge of the setup and the knowledge for the maintenance for your campaign. But once you have that under your belt, you can do incredible things, even beyond promoting your catalog, right? You can run email list growth campaigns, or you could run campaigns to your merchandise store, and you can track the sales to make sure that you're getting a good return on investment. And all of these are different campaign types, and they all have their own challenge and setup. But the one thing I want you to take away from all of this is that you should choose the means of generating traffic that works the best for your music and your lifestyle, okay? Just because I said you should run Meta ads doesn't mean that you're required to do that in order to become a successful artist. You might need to do that because it's the best fit for you, but it's not a blanket recipe for every musician in every stage of life with every skill set. I don't want you to think that you need to do all three of these to generate a lot of traffic for your music. In fact, you can probably just do one and learn that one thing really well, or master the testing of that one thing really well, and you can get very far. And once you've found success in one, my recommendation would be then to add the other. If you dive in to all three at once, especially without the testing mindset, without getting the proper training, or even without understanding how it works. For example, without understanding how influencer marketing works, you might not even know which playlisting company to choose and which are the best ones. And so your homework is this. Leave a comment below letting me know what traffic generating strategy you've already tried and which one you plan on trying next. Do exactly that. Let me know in the comments and I'll see it. And then next, I would love for you to send this episode to a musician that you know who needs clarity on the different ways to generate new traffic to their music. Maybe they are posting organically right now, but they don't realize that there are other ways to get the same result, right? If you see a musician who just is doing the same thing over and over again with very little results, do them a favor and just send them this video. This is the beginning of understanding the broader landscape of music marketing and understanding that you have options. And I want you to know those options so that you can choose the right fit for your goals and your lifestyle. So on that note, thanks so much for watching. I really hope that this episode helped you. And if you want to connect further or even work together where we're both working on your music marketing strategies, click the link down below to either reach out or apply for our agency services. And I can't wait to talk with you and meet with you to see how we can promote your music and help you get that traffic on your songs, whether it's on Spotify or on social media. I'd love to connect with you. Thanks so much for watching this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.